Why would you build a tube chassis truck with a square tube back half? Well, what happened with this truck is it has a severe case of the wow where theirs. Originally it was a twin turbo wow less leaf spring truck, but I put the 8.8 that went into it the first time and it didn't really drive straight. It would always crab walk a little bit, so I was always fighting the truck, and it got to a point where I had to do something about it. I had to fix it. At the time, my buddy Chris really convinced me on doing a back half 4-link on the thing. So originally I was supposed to back half it, fix the cage, and make the bars line up with the new back half and continue racing, which I should have done. And because this sport is like a literal drug, you just always want more, more, and more. The cage that it had in it was a mild steel cage that I installed, my first cage ever, and it just wasn't installed correctly. The welds were shit, and it was heavier due to it being mild steel. So I said, okay, well, I want to go to a chromoly cage since we already have to redo some stuff. Then I started seeing how the sport was progressing and everyone's firewalls were moving back. All of the no prep cars that were doing really well had their firewall moved back. So I was like, well, I'll cut the firewall out of it. And then I had the firewall cut out of it, and then that turned into, well, I'll fucking cut the floors out of it and put all new floors in it. And then I had the floors cut out. I started building the chassis, and then I was like, what the fuck do I need this stock frame for? I'll cut the stock frame out of it. And I was going to leave stock suspension, but then I was like, well, I'm already doing everything, so I might as well do a strut front end. And it just keeps going and going and going and going. A lot of people ask me, why do you have a square tube back half? It's not going to cert as high. Well, I don't know if that's the case because it is still a brand new back half. That's why I didn't want to change it out. I had already paid for that to be installed. I actually didn't install. I actually paid my buddy Chris. He installed it for me. I bought the back half. It's brand new. It's never been raced on. So at this point, I just don't want to redo all of that shit again. So deep in this truck that redoing the back half will prolong it even further, especially at the point that we are now. Like, the back end of this thing is really nearing completion after some X bracing, and obviously it still needs a bunch of work, but redoing the back half just isn't in the cards for me. At the end of the day, if it doesn't cert to 25.2 because of the square tube, then so be it. I'm going to be backside racing and street racing this thing for the most part, and I am confident in it saving my life if it ever has to. I know what I'm building. I know it's a solid ass fucking cage. Better than a lot of cages I've ever seen. When I made that video talking about racing within your means, I was talking about myself as somebody that tried to race out of their means and now hasn't raced for years because of it. Although I'm very excited for what's to come and what the final product of this truck will be, I do regret not just racing it as a back half truck and slowly